Okay, we have no attendees right now, though. So
I think that why don't you give it another minute and then we can get, there's people coming in right now. So if you give it another minute.
So Jamie, I'm going to share my screen, right?
You got it.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening. I see we have 2 attendees right now. But in the interest of time, this is all being recorded so people can watch it if they don't have a time to tune in tonight. I'm Karen DeTore, I'm the village manager, and with me is Michael Garcia, who's the director of our Youth Bureau. And tonight we are talking about the Youth Advisory Council, which is a group of students who will be selected to help steward the Youth Bureau and direct programming and inform the Youth Bureau on those things that are most needed in the community and how the Youth Bureau can best serve those needs. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mike.
Good evening. Again, my name is Michael Garcia. I'm the Youth Bureau Director. And tonight we're going to have an informational session on what the Youth Council will be doing and sort of how we've gotten here so far. I'm going to share my screen. So at the end of the presentation, if anyone's interested in asking questions, you can raise your hand and you'll be allowed in to ask your question. You will be off camera, so it would only be your voice. So if you're interested in asking questions, feel free. And at the end, I will also have my email address. And if you have questions that you feel more comfortable emailing, feel free to do that. So get us started. Ossining is the first youth bureau in New York State in 30 years. And this is a big deal. It's a situation where this is extremely important for the county. It's extremely important for Ossining. And it is an opportunity for many youth to have a voice in Ossining. And the mission statement of the Youth Bureau is to connect youth to positive services and programs that will help promote education, physical and emotional health, civic engagement, economic security, healthy choices, and a sense of belonging to the community. I want to reiterate that connection of youth to positive services and programs. That is extremely important for all youth bureaus throughout New York State, and it is something that without the adults and without the youth, we can't do this effectively. So here's some examples of some things that we've done over the last year and a half. These programs were developed by Ossining Youth, other than Coffee with Grandpas, but we've had Coffee with Grandpas through our grant, and Grandpas United has sponsored programs for Ossining Youth over the last couple of months. Here you see the logos, the original design, which was in the youth leadership program in the summer of 2020. That's where it was developed. And then over time, we've transferred it over to the updated version. And the youth that created it during that summer had input into what the logo would look like. And so we have a new design that is more digital friendly. And these are the kinds of things that youth giving their voice to is what we're looking for in the Youth Council. During the summer leadership program, we covered things like public speaking, career exploration, conflict resolution, and advocacy. These were topics that were covered. These are things that kids participated in, and they built skills in these areas. So these steps to creating the Ossining Youth Bureau, there were many way before me. And so some of these things we have accomplished, some are still in process. So we have accomplished by getting the trustees to adopt the resolution that created the Youth Bureau Department in November of 2019. Director was hired August of 2021, that's me, and inviting stakeholders into the process. This is something that started before me and has continued and will continue throughout the life of the Youth Bureau. The stakeholders are the community, parents, youth, business owners. Those are all examples of stakeholders. Creating a Youth Advisory Board. As of April 20th, 2022, we officially have a Youth Advisory Board. of 10 adults. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And now we're in the process of creating youth council, and that's where you come in. And there will be a needs assessment created, which will give us a sense of what specifically in Ossining is needed. What kinds of programs, activities, and other services are needed that will impact on youth and families. So what is the Youth Advisory Board? Youth Advisory Board's focus is to meet local youth needs through advocacy and recommendations on policies and plans to develop plans to promote positive youth development and or prevent delinquency and youth crime. And this is a basic statement. It's a mixture of other youth advisory boards throughout the state. And this just helps us create the beginning of what our focus here in Ossining will be. The Youth Advisory Board will better define this. And just like the Youth Council, things will be better defined over time. So what is the Youth Council? The Youth Council is community-supported, youth-led leadership to promote a youth voice in Ossining. Young people serve in an advisory role to the Youth Bureau and provide a youth voice and advocacy. Youth actively participate in development and initiation of programs and activities to support the well-being of other community youth. You know, this is extremely important because this statement is just one area where youth can have a voice. This is a basic draft version of what the Youth Council will do, but over time, the Youth Council itself will better define this and provide their voices into what the Youth Council looks like. So how do you fit into the Youth Advisory Board's role? The Youth Advisory Board is a 15-member board made of village residents. And so there are 10 community members, as I previously mentioned, 2 village board of trustees, and then 3 youth ages 16 to 21. Again, the advisory board will have a youth voice. The Youth Council will be all youth, and it will be their voice. But we want to make sure that as there's oversight of the Bureau, there's also the youth voice at every level. And then I will also be participating on the advisory board as an ex officio member. So the initial council of youth is 2022 is a group of youth to build a larger council that will elect their own board. Over time, that will be done, but we need to get a core group of youth up and running. Some kids have already participated in leadership programs since 2020. We need more youth to participate in programming to build up their skills, and eventually they will take over and run their own board. Youth ages 13 to 21 can be part of the Youth Council, and representation throughout Ossining. We want to make sure every corner of Ossining is represented. And the goal of incorporating youth from various organizations or individual youth interested in sharing a voice. It is an opportunity to build a stronger voice in Ossining. This council is not to take away from any other organization. It is to build the voice of youth in Ossining. So if another organization has a youth board, it is a good practice to make sure that they get included in our youth council so that their organizations can be represented, but also the voice of those youth that are already participating in the community can be heard. The number of youth on the actual youth council, we don't have a number. Again, this is new. It is new to Ossining, it is new to Westchester County, and there is no roadmap for this. So we are creating our roadmap. And ideally, a council of 10 to 20 youth would be good, but it could be more. And again, the youth council will give feedback and direction on what the youth council looks like and the numbers and the role of people within the council. So within the initial year, we want to establish basic guidelines and capacity build through trainings and programs. This is important. Some youth will have experiences from what they've done already. Some may be new to this, and we want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Provide guidance on programming. As I showed you earlier, there are programs that youth have already given input into and actually carried out. So we want to do more of that. Host community council meetings to allow all youth who want to participate to have a voice. There will be the youth council, but there will also be community council meetings. This is an opportunity, whether you're on the council or not, to give feedback to the direction of the Youth Council and the Youth Bureau. Share information and recruit youth to participate in council and sponsored programs. This is important. The outreach of youth council members is important because it's showing that this is something that you want, that you're advocating for, that's important to you. So that's where the sharing of information and getting connected with other programs is important. And again, to provide a youth voice for Ossining. I can't say it enough. The youth voice is what the youth council is all about. So requirements and expectations in the initial year. Again, I say initial year because the youth council itself, once it's formulated, will give direction to what the youth council does going forward. We want youth who can commit to 12 months of service to the council. We've got to have a year of people working together to help create the structure of what the youth council looks like. We need youth to attend 75% or more of the monthly meetings. They could be in person, they could be virtual. As you know, with school, the virtual versus in-person fluctuates depending on what's going on, and we will probably follow similar guidelines. Participate on developed committees and attend trainings. The youth council will decide on subcommittees. We will bring trainings to youth council members so that they can build up their capacity and their knowledge and skill to be able to run an effective council. That's all in the plans for the initial year. Submit report cards and grades as a member in good standing. Ultimately, we want you to do well as you can. Everyone is different, and I recognize that, but the expectation is that you're going to get passing grades and that you're expected to improve on low grades and to focus on your education. Education is important. Represent self and the council in a respectful manner. What you do out in the community, how you represent the council itself, how you represent yourself, your families is important. And my experience from being in Ossining, I have not met a disrespectful kid yet, believe it or not. I find that this community is extremely respectful, and youth have manners. They are very outgoing and they love their community. To advocate and set aside personal agendas. If someone is feeling a certain kind of way, we expect people to be respectful. And you may not like what someone does, but we want you to be able to do that in a respectful way and to advocate for what you want, whether you agree with someone or not. And that comes with skills. So those trainings will come in handy. Participate in community outreach and recruitment of other youth and adults seeking to support the mission of the youth. There'll be opportunities at community events. There'll be opportunities within programs that are attended throughout Ossining and throughout Westchester to advocate for what you want to see on the youth council, but also to advocate with other adults to become more involved and supportive of the mission of the Youth Bureau. To attend and participate in Youth Bureau programs to provide advocacy and youth voice for programming and funding on the local, county, state, and national level. The county has a youth bureau of which at least one community member is a part of, but we are a member of the local youth bureau association, but we also are a member of the state association. So we have reach throughout the state, and programming and trainings are available through them because we have the membership. And there's opportunities for youth to participate in advocacy kinds of things. And we've already had youth attend webinars with local representatives around the budget and what they've learned from being a part of the Youth Bureau. And that kind of advocacy and letting the local politicians and state politicians know the kinds of things that youth want is, again, part of what sharing your youth voice is all about. And share the information with other youth, adults, and community programs. So keep in mind, this is our first year. If you look to the left, you'll see youth engage in a social justice conversation. That was the summer of 2020. We had a guest speaker come in. Those are the kinds of things that we can create together, the kinds of things that youth may want to participate in. And that's where the youth voice comes in. What do you want to see in Ossining? We want to do capacity building. It's a foundation of the youth voice. And so you being able to participate in different kinds of things helps build what the future of the Youth Bureau is. An opportunity for you to be a part of Ossining history. Again, I mentioned earlier, this is the first in 30 years. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for the county. It's a big deal for the village and town of Ossining. We need to make this successful. And with your help, with your support, with your direction, it can be. every youth has a voice, and what you choose to do with your voice is your responsibility. I want you to consider, are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? And how you insert yourself into what's going on in Ossining will demonstrate that. Whether you're 13 or you're 18 or you're 21, you have a voice. You're a youth and you're more than capable of speaking up for yourself and sharing what you think is important for other youth in the community. We've received funding from several different sources. We've had Open Door, Communities That Care, that we have a grant that we're working with them on. We have Grandpas United. They funded us late 2021, and Westchester County is picking that up to fund Grandpas United for 2022, and that's intergenerational mentoring with youth in the community. But we also are supporting White Plains in that we're mentoring youth that are involved in the youth court throughout Westchester County. New York State Legislative Grant, the SRAEP, and basically that grant has been funding the work readiness, the Promoting Futures, and different other programs that promote positive messages to youth. And over the coming year, more work readiness, career exploration are the kinds of things that the SRAP grant can fund. New York State and other grants that fund SYP. Last year, we had about 19 youth participate in summer youth employment. This year, we're not sure how many we will be able to serve, but we're waiting to hear from New York State and from Westchester County on what funds we have to use. And when that happens, we'll have a better idea of how many slots for summer youth employment we'll be able to use. And so the future, youth development programs, leadership development programs, educational support and scholarships, work readiness and career exploration, substance abuse prevention, recreation, sports and outdoor experiences, civic engagement and social justice, self-esteem enhancement and emotional health, family engagement and supports, summer youth employment. These are all things that for the future we can do. And again, that youth voice makes a difference. Without the youth voice, without youth, it doesn't happen. And these, again, like I said, the future of what we do in Ossining, these are just a few examples. Through the Youth Council, these things can be further developed, more things can be added, things can be taken away. It's what the youth in Ossining want to participate in, want to experience. So that's really the presentation. I'm Michael Garcia. I am the Youth Bureau Director. I am located in the Caputo Community Center. My email address is mgarcia@villageofossining.org. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Ossining Youth Bureau. And we have a page on the villageofossining.org. We actually have our own little tab there. So if you're interested in seeing more information, things that are supportive to youth, you can click on that and you'll see a full screen of things that are supportive to you. With that, if there are questions, again, raise your hand and Ms. Hoffman will allow you in.
So if you're looking for where to raise the hand, if you're on Zoom on a computer, it would be on the bottom of your screen. And if, for instance, you're looking on a phone, I believe it's to the side. But if you're not comfortable, okay, we have one in the Q&A from Ms. Kim Jeffrey. She says, how and when will it be determined what day of the month the meetings will be?
So first, we are going through the process of accepting applications, and that will go live on the website, villageofossining.org, on the Ossining Youth Bureau page. So once we get applicants, we will send an email out and we will set up the first meeting. The Youth Council will help decide on when the meetings are, because the kids have a lot of things going on. There's a lot of programs at school, after school. We don't want to take away from that. So we want to find a time where the most youth are available, and throughout the year, you know, sports impact on that. But that will be determined with the assistance of the Youth Council members.
Thanks, Mike. Is there anyone else that has any questions? I don't see any hands up.
Well, I will say,
Oh, wait, hold on. There's another one.
okay,
Oh, Kim just said thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. And then there's another one from Aiden Fell that says, who determines what will be discussed or done in the Youth Bureau?
youth. I mean, youth will have a voice in it. We'll have the Youth Advisory Board, which is made up of adults and youth. They will give guidance to what the Youth Bureau does. And between the Youth Council giving that input to the Youth Advisory Board, they will help us set a plan for what the Youth Bureau does.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has any other questions? Ah, Aiden says thank you. No pressure if you don't have any questions. We are happy to have Mr. Garcia take your information. You can send him messages through the website. You can send it directly through email. I'm sure you could visit him at the rec department over
Yes,
at
I
95
have
Broadway.
I have youth showing up randomly 2 or 3 days a week to find out about summer youth employment. So I get visitors all the time.
Yeah, and it's not weird. So feel free to stop
weird.
by if you're
It's not weird, it's just what happens.
Yeah, that's great. It's an open door. Did you want to have a closing?
No, I would just say that for those that participated, I appreciate it. Going forward, spread the word. We'll be sending out information in different ways about how to join the Youth Council. But we want to make sure that we're reaching every corner of Austin. We want youth from all neighborhoods to participate. We want youth from different clubs in the school. I'm coordinating with different people in the school already on getting the word out. So we'll continue to do that. And hopefully we have a well-represented group of young people to speak on the behalf of all the youth in Austin.
Thanks, Mike. This presentation is going to be on the website. It'll be on YouTube, and then it will also be on the website, the presentation itself, the pitch. So you can look forward to seeing that there. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hoffman, for helping me to host.
No problem. All right, take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.